I leaned over to my dad and said, "Woman driver."
Can you cut the mic?
And let's go back to Napoleon.
But he got salty, he got mad, and he got killed because of that.
I don't think we're going to forget Hitler.
Is there a final stage of history?
He is coming back, the former porn star, Mia Khalifa. Are we actually recording? A knack of mine, something I like to do, as always when the school year begins, take a look at the covers, especially the Norwegian book. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
The feminist icon and stuff, as well as Camilla Collett. The way they choose these figures instead of others.
Yeah.
It's like they have in the book all that they should have, like the historical stuff, but they
have some
are
of the
way
questions are a
differently.
little charged.
Yeah,
especially in religion.
but with
Yeah,
the
in
cover,
religion, some of the questions are really charged.
Yeah.
Like how
But I
are,
actually like the religion book so far.
yeah, there was one question that was
How is the female body the center of?
center of religious
Political
disputes.
conflict.
Yeah, that's a bit loaded. But there was another question about girls as well in the religious book. It was like, how has religion?
Look, turn around. Just turn your head, Eirik. No, Eric. Look,
Eirik.
look, turn around. Look at the headset when you turn around.
Look at the headset.
Okay, did you fix it? Because it was blinking as you turn, like the light reflected. There. That happens every time it turns around.
Okay.
And
You were worried. You were annoyed by this, just the sound of moving, and you're not.
My face.
yeah, no, of course the moving because the sounds actually that affect something.
Okay.
Yeah, sure. For sure. For real. No cap.
That could be the
For real,
start.
for real.
For real.
That could be the start
Yeah.
of the podcast, though. Just this discussion of that story, or just religion with the religion book in general.
Or rather, how he goes through and looks at the books, because it is really interesting.
Yeah, that's actually interesting. The school
Did
books.
you have the sources guide with the librarian?
Yeah, I had that. That was so terrible. The videos.
Yeah, the
toner?
video.
Oh, I was so disgusted. Honestly, in Norwegian society, it's often this way where they and Norwegian politics, people know that, so they can't just lie about it and be extremely biased. But American politics, when we deal with it in some way, they can just show their bias so clearly. It's in the media, for example. NRK always does that. I think even the chief of the NRK, before the election, said that we're not going to be objective about this. We're going to...
Yeah, but a lot of the leaders in NRK are or do have relation to some political parties. Like Carl Hagen, he was...
ultra-based. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He's not that good. You have heard the story, right, about Carly Hagen's wife?
No.
There was this party at the Royal Palace with I think it was with the actual king in the yearly Storting's dinner, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Storting is the name. Okay,
I know, it's a funny name though.
Yeah,
The big thing.
The big thing.
his wife came to take him home, but she wasn't really well, so she, the stairs in front of the Royal Palace, she drove up them.
She drove up the stairs?
Yeah, with the car.
Isn't that illegal?
Damaged the car. Drove past the Carl Johan statue up towards this. What
the hell?
And the night, the day after, it was all over the newspapers, of course. He'll never be forgiven for that one.
And what happened to her?
Is that not illegal to drive up there?
I think so, but they weren't that rude to him. They're just okay. It was a mistake. Okay.
Everyone does that at some
Everyone
point.
does
Just driving into restricted areas for the king.
I was going to say something. I can't really say it this early. Can you cut the mic?
Yeah, cut the mic. Are we actually recording?
Yeah, we have started.
We have
That's
started.
so transition, you know?
Just for 2 seconds.
I did that once. We were in Germany, right? And driving on the Autobahn, and there was this one super slow car, and I just said to my mother and sister were in the back, so we just not my sister.
Okay,
just my
am
mother.
I supposed to mute for
No,
this,
it's
or is this
No, it's
something
fine.
you can
It's
say?
fine.
Okay.
It's completely fine.
Just making sure.
I think it was in Germany. Yeah. Or no. It was not in Germany. At least at some point, we were on the motorway, and there was this slow driver. I leaned over to my dad and said, "Woman driver," of course, and it started a bit of a quarrel with my mom and sister in the back. Yeah.
And what was the result?
And we drove past. It was a woman.
It's so funny though,
that
because
was good.
my dad does the same. It's like, oh, God, damn, has to be a woman. And 9 times out of 10, it's like true, but it's really funny.
It's funny, but at the same time, I think there's actually been statistics on this that women do the most of the fender benders, the small accidents, but men, when they crash,
men have a tendency to really like to die in car crashes.
Yeah. Let me go wrap my car around a tree.
Give it a big hug.
When I get my license,
You're gonna hug a tree with your car.
Hug a tree real good. Like what's it called? Jack Daniels or something, and just go driving for a trip. Yeah, gonna take I don't know. You know the guy at school who just got his license.
Oh I know.
The guy that who was it? The guy that just
well, we can't name him.
We don't say.
Was he in psychology? Is that the guy?
He was in psychology 1. Yes.
Yeah. That I know.
Yeah. Anyways, though, I think it's it's interesting. In all of these kind of statistics, I've seen a trend of men being more to the extremes. They're not as much in the middle.
Also the suicide statistic. Of
men are more to the extremes while women are more in the middle. Why?
What's up? That's nice. Got that on tape, of course.
I think that's true about the men being on the extremes. It's something called the greater male variance principle or something.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
It's something basically grounded in the assumption that males are genuinely more expendable. No, but through evolutionary.
But it is.
It takes a woman 9 months. It takes us 2 seconds. Well, 2 minutes. Let's put it that way.
For some of us.
Oh god.
Literally.
We are going to get cancelled. So
I understand why you don't have a girlfriend, though. Okay, sadly.
No, but you get what I mean. Like, you are correct. We are more expendable.
You get what I mean? Wow.
No, I don't get I don't get what you mean.
Oh, no. Well, then we just know you're expendable.
Yeah. Take a look at
him specifically.
Birds, for example.
Yeah.
Like, why can there be greater variation with the male birds and the colors and all that stuff? Yeah, because they're expendable. More expendable.
Well, for birds, it's kind of different. It's not really that. It's that for birds, usually, it's kind of the same as with males, that females choose their partners.
Yeah.
They have to be impressive.
Yeah, that's right. But why is that way, though?
It's a good question.
It's the same way, I think. Not in like time it takes to reproduce, but in the amount of expendability. Yeah, male birds are expendable.
Yeah.
That's why it's all over nature. Look at these bucks who fight for one woman. Why isn't it the other way around? It's easily because one has got to prove themselves stronger, and that one wins the mate, who I don't want to call it.
Usually in a lot of animals and humans, prehistoric humans, you tend to find harems. Like literally, that is the best definitions. One man or a few men who have most of the women, and then you have a lot of men who don't have any mates.
I was going to expand on that.
How did we get to this topic?
It doesn't matter.
It's the power of the podcast.
That's where sexual dimorphism comes from as well. Animals that form monogamous relationships and find a partner for life usually aren't that sexually dimorphic. Look at penguins, for example, and look at swans. You can't, like normal people, can't tell if it's a male or female. You can tell in lions, for example. It's really obvious. And sorry, girlfriend. And that might be because when you have harems like that, you need to compete against others. Like in lions, for example, you have one dominant lion of the pack, one male, and he gets the right to mate with all the females in the pack. So he needs to be big and strong to compete with other males. But swans, for example, they don't compete the same way.
There's an historic example for this. Look at the Sultan's harem and the Ottoman Empire. You have the same. There's competition. All these, both the mothers and the sons, have to fight for power. So they kill all their brothers. But at the same time, you can say that the competition is good. Only the best son wins power after all. But it undermines the institution as a whole.
It's not best for the system. It's the best one at killing his brothers. That's who wins.
Yeah.
Do you want that as a leader?
But that's not the problem. The problem is that it undermines its own institution. It undermines monarchy.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, I won't say it's directly led to or this decadence grew after, but the Janissary coup, the Janissary's power, and other institutions and factions in the Ottoman Empire wouldn't have gotten that powerful if it hadn't been for the decline of the monarchy or the Sultan and whatever we want to call it.
How could you have prevented that?
How can you prevent decadency? It's a difficult question. You look at where the Ottomans came from. They're like these horse lords, the Turkic horse lords, and they end up these really rich, decadent country. And
the pioneers.
They're certainly pioneers, but at the same time, the last few hundred years of their existence, they truly were the sick man of Europe.
Mm-hmm.
They grew too decadent, honestly. And I think it's kind of sad. At least I feel some pity for them at the end. And it's just so sad. The way that other powers they don't kill them. They just let them exist as a sort of weak, a sick man. Yeah. They know that it benefits them to have a sick man around to be able to exploit at some point whenever they need it.
What is decadence? How do you define it?
Decadence is the... what would I say? Weakness or immorality from wealth over time or success over time, something like that. I haven't thought about that definition.
Like the degeneration of a society.
Not. It doesn't have to be degeneracy in that way, but it could be for sure.
Developed sort of complacency. You're so comfortable where you are that you are not willing to move on.
Not really, because, for example, the Ottoman Empire, they were still willing to go on. They were still trying to conquer places, but their old methods just didn't work anymore.
Yeah, they weren't willing to update the methods. They were stuck in the mindset of the 1500s when it was in reality 1800s. You put the fictional reality in your mind above the objective reality of existence.
One could say that, but that is a fictional, idealized view of the past, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just because it worked in the past doesn't mean that it will work in the future.
Yeah, but at the same time, tradition, at least.
I was going to expand because even though because it did work in the past, most likely it will work in at least to some degree in the future. And that's why we don't expand with traditions. And that's why we have traditions.
The Ottomans didn't collapse entirely. Like, their old views and ways of being didn't collapse the nation. It just didn't improve it as the rest of Europe improved.
I wouldn't even say it didn't improve it. It declined heavily. Yeah, it didn't collapse, but the decline was
They
quite
declined relatively, but did they decline even compared to their past self?
Yeah, certainly.
Okay.
Look at the Greek revolt. The Albanians, all these Balkan countries or Balkan peoples being able to revolt and actually get their own country. Look at the loss of power in North Africa. They really decline. Also, look at the later sultans compared to Suleiman the Magnificent or Mehmed the Conqueror.
The one with the onion hat?
Yeah, that's Suleiman the Magnificent. They don't compare at all. They're so much worse. I don't know how we could say they were better or they were even close to the same, because it's also partially linked to Islamic history, of course, which also has develops a bit of decadence and weakness.
Careful now.
But in that, I think everyone would agree with me that at a certain point they become weak enough to be conquered. So I think you can't say they were just as strong when they were conquered.
But I do agree with you, but I wouldn't put the collapse of the Ottomans solely down to the decadence. I would probably put a higher degree of causation on the improvement and expansion of the power of basically everyone else.
Yeah, but I completely disagree. And I agree, I mean.
I completely disagree with you.
I completely agree with that. The innovation from the Western powers and other powers, of course, also was what made the decline. But why do you think the Ottomans went from being some of the most innovative people to not anymore? Look at they were the first to use these bronze cans, I think it was.
At least use them effectively.
Yes,
to take down the walls of Theodosian.
The Theodosian walls, yeah. But also other places like Belgrade, and look at how they functioned against the Hungarians. Fantastic. It's kind of ironic though, because this guy who first made these cannons, he first tried to go to the Byzantines and give them, but they didn't have the money, and he tried, but so he went to Mehmed after, and he was Hungarian, and those exact cannons would later to be used at, I think it was the Battle of, what was the Mohacs, I think, to actually defeat the Hungarians decisively and take over the Kingdom of Hungary. So it's kind of ironic that this, and I think it's also a great moral example. Look at that one artillery guy. He tried to go to the Byzantines, but he went to the Ottomans after, and that caused the end of his kingdom, the end of his homeland. And
would it have fallen either way? Maybe not to the Ottomans,
no,
but
if the Byzantines got those cannons, would it have fallen? No, perhaps later, much later. But
weren't the Byzantines already kind of
oh,
dead?
yeah, they were dead.
Yeah,
but Hungary was not out of the game at all. They were one of the most powerful kingdoms in all of Europe. So if they had gotten a bit more time, had gotten time to actually defeat the Austrians, because they defeated the Austrians in a year before that, with Hunyadis and I think it's Magnus Corvinus or something his name is, the son of John Hunyadi. He actually took Vienna. A Hungarian king took Vienna, won a decisive battle against the Holy Roman Empire. And so if they had gotten time to actually control, and of course Magnus Corvinus got a legitimate heir, maybe I would say that they have a good chance of surviving.
Okay, well,
I don't know how we got there.
Burning ourselves in history.
Yeah, it's real fun.
What do you expect when we have these two together?
Yeah,
I did
History,
turn on the
of
microphone.
course.
What do you expect when we have these two people together?
history nerds.
well, to be fair, history is,
Really interesting.
and it's probably the best place to understand the human condition, because
Of course, it's the history of
yeah,
humans.
that literally history is where you can. Well, I'm trying to connect this to psychology and sociology, obviously, because that's
Of course you are.
What
my
better place to
main
understand
interest.
humans than
Yeah, but literally,
written down human actions?
Yeah.
Literally.
you can see how they act, you can analyze them, and which is why you have so many historians who seemingly function better than any psychoanalyst. They just know the human condition better because they've studied like thousands of humans in the past.
Yeah, history is a really good way, but history isn't just what is written down.
Yeah.
History is our past.
Well,
Not
our
the past
past-
of the world, not the past of the universe. History is the past of humans.
It isn't the definitive past because we have no objective recording of the past. We don't know if the recordings of Alexander's zero with lose streak is an
You're trying to offend me
embellishment.
with that one.
Maybe, but I'm picking a topic that has sparked a lot of debate between
Yeah.
us. Not that I disagree that he was probably the best general of all time, but like the idea that history is
Yeah.
subjective.
Yeah, we had about this in history and philosophy a bit,
Yeah.
and in some ways it's a true science in that you can always try to get closer to the truth, but you're never going to actually arrive there. Never actually going to get the full truth about something in the past. And just for context, we agree on a lot of things. We have spoken together a lot, but there's always been two issues, historic issues that divide us, and we always kind of get back to them at some point. We can speak about a whole different theme or thing, but we always get back to one of those disagreements. That's
what's the other thing?
One of us, of course, who's the best general of all time. He will say Napoleon, and I will say Alexander the Great. And the other one is the true successor to the Roman Empire, whether that is the Holy Roman Empire or the Byzantine Empire.
Yeah.
Or you would probably say Eastern Roman Empire.
Well, I wouldn't object to using Byzantine because it's a good way of referring to it, but Eastern Roman Empire would probably be a better definition. But it isn't. It's probably more who has the most legitimacy. Or in my case, does the Pope have the power to grant legitimacy of the Roman Empire? Can he appoint the next Roman Empire? I would say no. You would say yes, as he used that. You use that as an explanation.
That's an argument,
why.
but it's not solely why. It's a part of it, because I know this argument has gotten a lot of flack, but it's still this. How can you be a Roman Empire without even being near controlling Rome? It's this paradox. It doesn't really make sense. You don't have Roman culture. They're Greek culture. Just accept it, honestly. You don't have the Roman culture. Yeah, you have the Roman traditions in the state and the government, but you Greekify it. You make it not Roman anymore over time, of course. So I would say, you might say they're a successor state, but the truest successor, they're the truest successor to the Eastern Roman Empire that came after the schisms of the two empires. So they were divided into West and East. But at some point, they become more Byzantine than Roman.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't disagree that it becomes something else, but I would still say they're the most legitimate successor. Maybe not the only one,
say that
but the most legitimate.
Pope Leo III.
I don't believe in the power of the Pope.
Yeah, of course I don't either.
Good. You can't oppose that.
Yeah, but the Pope has something to say about Roman emperors. He's the leader of the church that existed in the Roman Empire.
I think this is a general split in a lot of our arguments, is that I usually consider things or the legitimacy of things based on its symbolic backing, whilst you often use, the Pope, religion, and I don't disagree that religion was the prime motive of the past, but
you don't have that. This guy, he knows a lot about psychology, philosophy, but he just lacks the theology. I talked about this to him many times. He doesn't have the theology. He doesn't have his Augustine, his Aquinas, his Anselm of Canterbury. He just doesn't know it, because in psychology you don't have about it. You should have had chosen history and philosophy.
I should have, but I didn't, and it's a bit too late now.
You need your theology. I tried to send you this Martin Luther, so kind of to start getting him into Reformation theology, but got no answer.
Well, I haven't watched them. I watched a few of them. They were
the
funny.
The second one is so good.
To be honest, I prefer philosophy without the spiritual addings.
But
I like to create my own spirituality and symbolism.
Philosophy without it. Philosophy was made on the grounds of religion. Religion was the foundation of philosophy, all philosophy.
Yeah, but you don't always have to understand the foundation to elaborate on its function.
You need to understand how Vico Baptista, I think, or Batista Vico said just this, that to truly understand things, to truly have knowledge about it, you need to know what caused it.
Truly, yes, but I have a whole life in front of me. Why should I start with
Do you not strive after knowledge?
I strive after knowledge, but I will first go for what actually interests me. And then I will build up. What interests me currently would probably be Nietzsche and Plato, not St. Aquinas. I am going to read them.
But you can't understand Plato without knowing what his religion was.
Well, in the study of Plato, you do learn a lot of the religion around the time.
Yeah, but you have these I know this, but you don't know what connects them.
But that's because the joy of learning is making your own connections.
How can you understand Nietzsche's criticism of Christianity without knowing what Christianity is?
Because I'm more interested in the way he phrases his critiques than the actual critique itself.
Okay. But how do you gain knowledge from that?
I'm not sure if I gain knowledge. I gain interest. I gain passion in life, and that
It
translates
feels like I'm
knowledge.
playing
He's trying
ping
so
pong.
hard.
I'm ping pong, changing the cameras between you two.
He's trying so hard. To
I'm
play
trying
devil's
so hard to
advocate.
keep up.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
He's
You know-
playing devil's advocate, by the
But
way.
Yeah,
Oh.
that is the essence of my being. If there's no counter argument, then I'll make a counter argument. If the conversation,
You're basically just trying to try your hardest to be a bitch.
well,
yeah, that's
I-
why I defend the Byzantines. Though
You're gonna make this
Honestly,
they're
personal.
so evil, they're so bad. Why would you defend
honestly,
them?
you'll never
That's
know
actually devil's advocate.
what I'm 100% serious about or not, because I'm in everything I say and do. There's probably some part irony, some part seriousness.
You say that. I sent you like a meme for 20 minutes ago, and you didn't know it was a joke. And you say, "Oh, you will never understand what is a joke or not." That peering through the window meme, that was a joke
Well, to be fair, you were.
in the air. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I was kind of baffled. Wait, what? Does he know the exact? I shouldn't say this. Let's not talk about
I
this.
kind of wanted to
Yeah.
find something so specific to suggest the thought that I was stalking him back.
Yeah, that car. Wow, I felt like wow.
Yeah, exactly. That was a conscious decision to choose a car.
Yeah, and the actors look alike as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's literally the
It's
same actor.
It's the same actor. Yeah,
Yeah, it's the same
By the way,
actors.
the meme was,
Jim.
Jim from The Office
Yeah.
peering through the
Yeah,
window.
but
thing.
and the text was him, like Myth watching Eric watching Philip eat dinner.
Start.
So yeah, I posted that meme and he answered, and Philip just I imagine like Philip seeing this like 40 minutes later and was like, what? Both these guys are sitting outside my house and
Obviously, I understood he wasn't, but I didn't outright deny the possibility that you had just walked past my house and just peered into.
but that's why you're incapable of understanding that the Byzantine Empire was just a joke.
Oh my god.
It was a shitpost. It was yapping. It, like,
Leave it be for once.
and that's as well. He doesn't understand what something is true or not. And let's go back to Napoleon. This is what I said. Right, we always get back to these points. It tells something quite deep about how we view the world and how it is different. Because Alexander is truly great. He has that name. He has not lost a single battle. He's the perfect conqueror. But
He's the victor. Napoleon is the loser.
Stop touching your damn microphone.
That's my problem with so many of these Napoleon fanboys, and there's been quite a few of them lately.
Especially in the recent times, yeah, with all the memes.
Because they
nothing
they
you can
fall
do.
in love with this with Napoleon as a conqueror and as a perfect victor in the Battle of Austerlitz and all these major battles that he wins, but they fail to see that he is a loser. He ends up being defeated.
Yeah.
I saw this TikTok like glorifying Napoleon as the greatest general of all time, the victor, and I just commented. I remember all that to end up defeated and alone. Like that's how his story ends. I feel like Napoleon fans just forget about that.
Well,
They forget about.
not gonna lie, you kind of lost the argument when you replied to a TikTok.
Should have thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that comment got over 100 likes.
Yeah. When you say anything about history, it's really easy to get you fired up, though, to be fair. Like when I said something about the Red Baron being... Yeah.
That angered me.
That
Because,
deeply angered you. The next time you saw me, you came up to me and said, "What the fuck was that?" And I was like, "Huh? What? The Red Baron?" You said his real name, which I don't care about. Yeah. Oh shit. God damn
Yeah.
it.
I want to talk about this for a moment. You've called me the MoNaRcHiSt for like 3 episodes, and I don't know why it's so specific. Like 70% of Norwegians are MoNaRcHists.
But it's because that's a defining trait of yours that makes it easy for others to know who I'm talking about.
But most people in Norway are MoNaRcHists.
Yeah, but you have to understand that
You're more monarchist than most.
it's the difference between atheism and agnosticism. Most people are monarchist in the agnostic sense. You're like monarchist in the way that atheists are. You actively support a state. Like, I don't care or not, but I kind of like it.
Or maybe it's the difference between a deist and a theist.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That might be more accurate.
Yeah.
A little bit far away.
And
I'll stop.
we have
You
talked about
just
it
gave
that
me
you
that
do
look.
We have
prefer
talked
a
about-
constitutional monarchy.
I do look
And you
like
wouldn't
I will
want
do something
absolutist.
about you messing up your microphone.
It's not even that. It's that it. What does that sound? I don't know.
But
It's not my
Yeah,
fault.
it's let's
Can't
just
get
say
a
it's
couple
not
now.
a good microphone.
yeah.
It's
Not a good one.
I mean, no, okay, no, not
Not
the
my
microphone. The
Yeah.
the microphone is all right. It's like one of the best budget ones. I didn't pay for them though, so that's fine. But you see
You don't have
those
to flex.
S5 boom arms. I don't recommend a single soul to buy those because they are actually awful.
So we're not going to get sponsored by those.
But
No.
back to
At
the,
least not with that product.
back to the Red Baron thing.
Oh no.
I actually want to talk to you about this for a moment. People who just take this, he was so bad, and you have often
never
called Mia,
did I say that he was so bad. I said that he
He's
gets
overrated.
romanticized.
Of
Yeah,
course he does.
exactly.
Rightfully.
Rightfully
My
so.
guy got 70.
My guy got
My guy,
70
Herman von
confirmed.
Richthofen, got shot down 70
Yeah, but
enemy planes.
what I talk about is how he got angry. Someone tried to shoot down his cousin. Yeah, it was his first time and whatever. But he got salty, he got mad, and he got killed because of that. He's a dumbass.
Even
That
the British,
rhymed. He got salty, he got mad, he got killed because
even
of
the
that.
British acknowledged that he was such a great pilot and ace that they gave him a formal, honorable burial. They knew that they had done something big when they killed him.
I don't care. He did not have to
This is kind of
die.
hypocritical with the Napoleon thing, though. He ended up losing.
He does.
is
He
kind of
did not
hypocritical.
have to die. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a shit pilot. I'm just saying he got mad, and now he's bad because he's in the
An
grave.
honorable sacrifice.
And
Well,
not only did they lie about who shot him down because he was being chased, a fucking French infantry soldier shot him down.
Was it a French? I can't remember.
That's what I heard. But like,
It's really bad if it was a French person.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that makes it 10 times worse.
Hopefully
No,
it's a
could-
Belgian. They just speak
a
French, but they're still
Belgian or
Belgians.
something, just not a French person.
why
That
not
would
French
kill me.
people? What? Okay,
Yeah.
Because
I
French
know
people
I started
exist.
this whole trend by not only setting the first title of the first episode, but also by saying, what do you think of when you think French people?
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
No.
again.
Let's do it. Not directly, but we can kind of. This guy.
No, but what do we have against French people?
When have they not waved a white flag after Napoleon?
You are dating a French person.
I know.
But as I've explained to Philip before, I have nothing against
Half Polish.
France before 1789. Nothing against them.
That's specific.
Well, that is specific for a reason.
The French Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
The moment
And
enlightenment of the modern world arrived.
Not really something wrong with the French. The first French, the beginning, when they were trying to make a
Oh yeah,
constitutional
it's
monarchy.
the reign of terror.
Not really the reign of terror, really, but the La Montagne, the kind of proto-socialist movement. Where,
Yeah.
because when they first did the revolution, they were a parliament of mixed, like the people from the provinces and the poor people from Paris. But the poor people from Paris group, the La Montagne, defeated the Girondins, I think it's called in English, and the moderate, the Girondins, in trying to, no, we can't kill the king. Like, okay, you can sort of reduce the monarchy. Even some of them, I think, were for removing the monarchy. But this, like, we don't kill the king. Come on.
Why not?
We can keep it in prison, and we can do whatever. We don't kill the king.
Why not kill the king?
Because, firstly, you have a moral sort of duty to your king.
But if you're already
according to
rebelling
who,
against
though?
him,
According to God?
That depends on your view, though.
No, it depends on.
but if you're already rebelling against the king, do you still have a moral obligation to not kill him?
Yeah.
Would you have moral?
Regicide. You've heard about that, right?
Yeah, but if you're already rebelling against him, you're already saying he's not my rightful leader, and thus regicide is not really
Yeah.
morally wrong, as it's not. You're not
No,
killing your rightful leader.
I disagree. In a lot of countries who have gotten rid of the monarchy, they have just exiled them, and
Yeah.
I think that's a lot better. Like allowing them to live on is the better solution. You don't have to kill the king. And yeah, there's the argument, the destabilization, but it causes further destabilization to kill the king.
Well, to be quite honest, if someone's fucked me over for my entire life, I would want to see their head in a stake.
But is it the nobles who fucked you over, or is it the king specifically? Because he's quite high up in the
through
hierarchy.
history, when has the king... When it goes to shit, when has the king not had anything to do with it?
Often the king tries to help the people.
Yeah, that's why kings and both.
I love how I just switched sides.
Yeah,
a lot, yeah,
kings and
like
emperors
exactly. A lot of
often
the kings just follow the thing that will keep them alive.
No, I quite
Yes.
disagree with that. Let me explain this for a bit. There's this kings and kaisers and emperors are so often demonized by republics afterwards because they're the figurehead. They get all the blame. When, for example, most monarchs want to be loved by their people. They want to help their people. Look at Louis XVI. He tried to genuinely help his people, and William II as well tried to help his people a lot. He loved his people. He wanted to be loved by his people, but you can't. Most of them weren't evil people. But yeah, they were the figureheads of sort of kind of evil states, but that doesn't make them evil.
Evil state or evil system?
That's a difficult question. I would say maybe both. The German Empire, there's this Bismarck quote about the Poles, of course.
Oh,
where
of course.
Where he says something like, can you blame the wolf for killing the rabbit or something like that? Yeah, it's kind of evil, but it's kind of true as well.
Can you blame a predator for hunting?
No, you can't.
And we humans are predators.
Yeah,
But who
Oh god.
are other humans' rightful prey?
no,
Okay.
no.
So then it's evil to hunt other humans.
Yeah, but you're allowed to kill other humans for specific reasons.
Okay. Would one of those specific reasons be wars? Could you justify wars?
Yeah, wars can be justified. In Christendom, for example, you have the In Hoc Signo Vinces, which I like to quote sometimes. And,
A lot.
And Tuto Nika.
A lot.
Yeah, which is like a...
You need to translate, by the way, because not everyone knows Latin.
Isn't it Christendom?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There's
Christianity.
This, in this sign you will conquer. In this sign you will win. Is what it means. And according to legend, of course, Constantine the Great looked up to the skies before and saw this written in the clouds or in between the clouds before the Battle of Montepilvio. Oh no, Ponte Milvio, not Montepilvio.
Mountain Pelvio.
Ponte, a river. No,
sea.
Bridge.
Okay, crossing the sea.
Mare, I think is sea.
Pontus is also sea, ocean, sea. You know, a different word for it.
Something.
Yeah, something like that. And we don't have to deconstruct the Latin or Greek language.
Yeah, but you can justify wars. Saint Theodosius does this as well. There's a "love your enemy" quote, often taken in Christendom, with you should be pacifist. You should love your enemy, and that's true. You should love your enemy.
Okay.
But at the same time, as Saint Theodosius says, you should love your personal enemies, but not the enemies of God. You have a kind of duty to fight them.
Are you intending to say Christianity?
Christendom, you can say Christendom as well.
Christendom. Okay.
That's the kind of
More formal way to say it.
Sounds like a really old person saying.
Well,
Yeah.
to be fair,
Yeah.
Christendom
Really
is,
disconnected
That
old
makes sense.
guy.
Christendom is more the earthly bounds of it, whilst Christianity is the kind of spiritual definition. Would that be correct?
Yeah, I think you could say that. The Christendom is more like Christianity on earth, while Christianity is this sort of idea. It's this view. Yeah. I think we can fight wars. Martin Luther also says this. The Beowulf thought, where you have a right, or you at least it's not sinful to rebel if your leader is attempting to undermine the moral order. So
Can wars only be justified if they are reactionary? Or can you have proactive justified wars?
Bismarck also has a quote on this.
Of course.
What is it with you and Bismarck?
He's a Bismarck fanboy.
Preventive war is like a preventive suicide, is what Bismarck says, and it's so correct because preventive war is such a stupid concept. To to avoid a war, go to war. It's so stupid. I don't think preventive wars can be justified. The same way in the common example of killing baby Hitler. You can't morally kill baby Hitler. He hasn't done anything. You can kill Hitler after he has done all things, but it's wrong to kill Hitler before he has done anything.
If we say the universe is deterministic, you don't really have any...
I'd kill baby Hitler.
Yeah, but if you have actually no free will and everything is predestined to happen, can you justify killing Hitler because no matter what, he will cause those tragedies?
What's that Italian guy? If your grandma had wheels, she would have been a bike. It
would have been a car.
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense to me. The universe isn't really, I believe at least, deterministic.
I would agree.
Humans have free will.
At least I like to believe.
You'd like to believe that's the case.
Because that's the comforting belief, and I gain nothing from believing that I have no free will. I lose agency in life by believing I don't have agency. To you, it would still be
free will, though, so why even care?
Because I think about stuff like that, and I don't like it.
It just sounds so ridiculous. Like, if everything's already, like, it's gonna happen, there's a decided path, you're still gonna be the one choosing. It's just like, whatever you choose is just what you would have chosen.
But that isn't deterministic. Then you are giving people, then you are saying people have free will.
That's not what I've thought a lot about, like, the time loops and all the time dilemmas and stuff.
This is the Harry Potter example, right?
No, I'm not a Harry Potter person.
Harry Potter example.
No, I'm just saying, like, if it's deterministic, you can still have thoughts of, like, should I do it, should I not? But in the end, it was already determined what you were going to say. Yeah, but to you still decided that. Will, you wouldn't know. There's no way to know if it is or not, basically.
I would say that...
It's just what's the most comforting for you personally.
Yeah, it's comforting, yeah. But it's also true.
I don't care.
It's true.
I don't give a single fuck. Because to me, I still have a choice. I still do what I want to.
Yeah. So I think we as humans can't live without it. We just... Even though if you're don't believe in free will, like actually genuinely think it's true.
Why did you point at me?
Because I look at you. You've enchanted me. I gotta look at you, risk you up, or whatever.
I'm the one who's risking you up. If I haven't enchanted you,
I am risking you up.
No. You've been risked by me.
This turned really gay quick.
History nerd bromance. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he can't say anything about Napoleon. He can't.
I wanted to try and shoot in with a comment. The free will on the topic of free will, do you think that people saying that there is no free will could use that to justify any action?
You can justify that action for yourself. It won't be actually justified, but you can think that it's justified. Because, as I explained this before to Philip, with like the way I view it, there's two like moral orders. There's the objective order, and there's the subjective. But subjective moral order doesn't come from yourself. It comes from other people and the society or humanity as a whole.
It's the super ego.
So by saying, we don't have free will anyway, I can do whatever I want. It doesn't really work. You're still... because you're making your own personal morality. But you can't do it. There is no thing such as personal.
Nietzsche is crying.
Yeah, because the reason I ask this question is because some religious people say everything that happens happens because of God, and because God wants it.
Who says that?
Certain religious people.
Yeah, but
I don't want to point
from
fingers.
Which religion do you have to be to actually believe that?
I don't want to point fingers.
Most religions could justify that.
No, not Christianity.
Look, the world got a bit boring. That's why we had Hitler.
You can't just say that. Well, you are correct.
If you guys can fanboy about these kind of fucking, I don't know, people. I don't fanboy Hitler. But all I'm saying, you're fanboying Napoleon, you're fucking Bismarck, all of that shit. Yeah, they did kill people. Cool, Hitler did kill people.
But the thing about...
Well, why am I not allowed to say that?
Why are we deifying Genghis Khan, but not Hitler? Give Hitler 500 years...
No,
and we forget.
That will never happen.
No,
because of the internet, or even if we didn't have this perfect recording.
I think the reason is because it's really, really well documented because they were German.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. If it
It's-
wasn't documented, would we still?
I
tend
don't-
It's
to-
not. It's not the thing that we like about Genghis Khan. The thing we like about the Roman Empire, which was insanely evil.
Oh yeah.
Is the greatness. They were great. They did great things. Yeah, they were evil. but
Great
they-
and good are separate.
yeah, great and good are really separate.
Great means big,
Yeah.
but people tend to forget that.
Yeah.
How long do you guys think that today's people, or like the historical figures we have today, how long do you guys think they will last? Like
Depends.
going on with the
Okay,
internet and
okay.
all that.
Depends on who and
Yeah,
when.
Like Hitler, for example, and Genghis Khan.
Hitler, a long time.
Yeah.
I think he will probably be remembered forever because you could say his war is kind of the turning point where we become truly the modern world.
But that's really centric or self-centered view.
Yes.
Yeah,
I don't
from
know-
modernity.
I don't really think so.
In
It's also
1,000 years.
it's also the same war where we launched the first nuclear.
And to be fair, when we think back, we still give such importance to the fall of the Western Roman Empire because that's the turn of
course.
an age.
I think we're not going. I don't think we're going to forget Hitler. But Hitler as the role of the main bad guy in all of history, and the most evil man of all time. But we have no guarantee that will last forever.
But I think for him to be replaced as the main bad guy,
You
we
need a
need
real
someone else.
evil man.
someone really bad.
Not even that. The new bad guy doesn't have to be worse.
Putin is there.
Mhm.
Just have to be more modern. And I think we've talked about how most generations and countries tend to forget like the essence of things after 3 generations. You kind of forgot the lessons of World War II, or the effects are kind of tapered out. Not completely. There's still something sticking, but like
But
the
that depends
central
on
thing.
society as well.
Yeah,
Look
like
at Germany.
a
Germany hasn't
society's
forgotten the Second World War.
But
a society's view of like who's a bad person
Right.
also changes. Now a lot of like how do I say this without certain people in certain countries especially really hate Elon Musk, for example, and think that he's
in
a
Norway,
piece of
yeah,
shit,
really.
horrible person. It does
Philip
also
thinks
alter. Like how do you guys
Philip thinks that.
how do you guys think that the internet will affect history and like conflicts going on?
People will be more susceptible to propaganda, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, but also like you could also argue that they won't because they can get information.
They can, but they won't bother getting information from other sources.
Like it will definitely change the dynamic, but I don't think it's just like a clear cut yes or no. It's going to go in this direction.
No, I'm pretty sure that people will be more susceptible to propaganda, not because people.
Especially young people nowadays.
Yeah, but not because of that, but and that people change, but because the environment they inhabit, people aren't going out as much to talk with random people about politics, for example. They go on the internet and talk, usually on Twitter, which isn't really the best place, but that funnels you into a certain place and will expose you to propaganda.
Yeah, but have you guys ever swiped TikTok?
It's horrible.
If you would swipe TikTok, you would have known there's a lot of propaganda.
I've seen a bunch of people like talk about what they find on TikTok and all the misinformation, but I've never had TikTok myself.
It's not really misinformation that's the problem. on TikTok.
Okay, yeah, okay. I
It's
thought,
not
I
the
thought,
main
it's
issue.
I thought you were going to say there is misinformation. I was about to be so mad.
There's a lot of misinformation, but it isn't the main problem. The main problem is these.
The
We
framing.
have gone from propaganda was something that we had to have $1 million budget to do. Look at Goebbels; they had an entire ministry for propaganda. They had to do so much. It was a state-driven thing.
Why didn't they just create
You
TikTok?
just need one person.
But now you need one 14-year-old in a room to make a Nazi edit, and it gets like 2,000 likes, 20,000 likes.
Outsource propaganda. That's literally
No,
what it is.
it's not outsourced. It's privatized. Every person can.
I was about to
Well,
say
it's outsourced
privatized.
from the ones who would benefit from the propaganda. Other people do the propaganda for them.
Yeah, I've seen so much propaganda on TikTok. It's insane. Like if I open TikTok right now, I would like swipe 3 and I get a Francoist propaganda.
Oh no!
What part of TikTok are you on?
Of course, but this is actually interesting because I think it's also partly my fault because I've never been on the like far right, but I've always been fascinated by them. I think they're really interesting. So, like on TikTok, especially, they have a like I would say it's a community at this point. They're like
Oh no!
I'm not a part,
God.
but I observe them and I follow all their like accounts so I can see.
Because it's really, really interesting.
It's really interesting and see this development. That they're actually 14-year-olds, but they're so creative. It's insane. It's like children, but children are creative. Really, they have the fantasy.
They make the best propaganda. Is that what you're trying?
And the comment section also always with the
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 comments.
juice
They also look
box.
harmless.
You know, like there's an emoji for juice box. But what does juice always? What do you think juice?
I would not have made that connection.
They always that, and they have the TND that totally have a nice day. It's like an acronym for total death, right? They have that.
What?
They have the
How'd you know these
they have the
things?
well.
What part of the internet are you on?
They have a lot. And never lose your smile, of course, which is referring to Totenkopf, the SS symbol. They're really good at making dog whistles. It's like a factory. Constantly.
I was gonna talk about how I like.
And there's
this.
also TGA, which is like total Jew.
Okay.
It's really interesting watching the real extremists like that, and then seeing what people believe is extremists. For example, 4chan. Like no, but Pepe.
The frog.
Yeah.
The frog. No, people see him as a symbol for the extreme.
It was like
Yeah,
extreme against like people with autism or something like that. I don't
No,
remember.
this
But
is
like,
also
have you heard of
Fortran is
Kekistan?
autistic.
Kekistan,
no,
yeah, Kekistan.
I think I've heard it mentioned. I just remember that people took Pepe, like 4chan, of course, and they made people think that it's like some terrorist group or like some.
And this, you know,
Yeah,
the
the
nice
OK
symbol.
Yeah, the
And
OK
so many
symbol.
other things as well.
I love 4chan.
Have you heard of Kekistan?
Yeah.
Do you know what it's like?
I know the origin of the kek, and it's like the kek is like the laugh in Korean or something. That's the origin, and Kekistan is they use kek on 4chan for like laugh.
Okay, first of all, the flag is interesting.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've
I've
seen that.
not
It's like a
seen this.
fictional world or something.
It's based of the Nazi flag.
Yeah,
But also, it's made to be inflammatory. Technically,
of course, because
it's a troll.
that's the problem with these internet trolls, right? Because what do they want to achieve? They want to get on the news. They want to be talked about. They want attention so desperately, and that's like we could all just ignore them. We could, but these like leftist, I would say leftist media, they have this agenda of they want to show society that
You put so
there
much
are
in.
Nazis. They want to have a problem to solve always, and to have anti-fascist actions, even though there are so few fascists. So they pick up on this and give the trolls exactly what they want: attention.
Like they're using the word Nazi as a boogeyman. Like there's so few actual Nazis, but it's used as just a denominator for the extreme right, which
And
is so wrong. Nazism is more to the center, honestly,
But
economically,
I would
and just
talk about this
extremely
stuff.
authoritarian.
Most of this stuff isn't probably made by Nazis.
Should
They're
we censor?
It's really just 14-year-olds
Having fun.
having fun.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll-
because it's the forbidden fruit, right? In society, Nazism and right extremism is so looked down upon, so it becomes kind of the forbidden fruit. Haha, I'm so cool. I'm posting Nazi flags and saying, well, and the juice box and right stuff like that. It's so fun for them because they want attention. And they see, this gets attention. Let me post more of this. And then you have this cycle where we post something to just inflammatory content just to get attention. And then we get the attention. Then we post more. So like, if we just, I don't care.
That was the thing, the OK sign.
Yeah.
Media picked up on it because it was used as a troll on 4chan and other far-right extremist places. But just let me clear up. There are far-right extremists on 4chan, but it's not a far-right. On Pol.
On
Yeah.
Pol, yeah.
Yeah, and B.
B as well as,
Yeah. But that's not the main thing that's there. They are there, but that's not what people go there for.
Yeah.
Most, like, it's quote unquote normal people. Normal people don't go into 4chan.
Yeah. 4chan was founded as a like anime weeb talking website.
Yeah.
Which
is so interesting.
Actually,
like, why do you think? Where do you think the degeneracy comes from? There needs to be like the seed of degeneracy.
Yeah.
on the topic of
I would
degeneracy,
actually think there's a unknown link between weebs and Nazis. Like,
Okay, moving on.
Okay, I have a question for you. That is on the topic of degeneracy. How much truth is there to the Hoi 4 pipeline into either femboy trans or Nazism?
there is some.
Point at me.
But
He pointed at me. I don't even play Hoi 4.
I think there's it's the same case with a lot of with the whole video games cause violence debate. It isn't Nazis and femboys who it isn't normal people who open Hoi 4, play Hoi 4, who become Nazis and femboys, right?
Are you sure?
It's femboys and Nazis who play Hoi 4.
Why are they attracted to Hoi 4?
I never thought I would hear those two words in the same sentence. Femboys and Nazis.
They're quite
before.
similar, actually.
But okay, I can see how Nazis would be attracted to a game like Hoi 4, which for the listeners, it's a strategy game simulating World War II. So obviously Nazis would be attracted to that, replaying the glory of Germany. But why are femboys attracted to that?
It's
Tell
a
me
hard
why.
question. This is actually quite interesting from a sociological perspective, in which, because I think it's, at least from the top of my head, I think it's two reasons. The femboys also know that there are Nazis there, and they want to.
They want the dominant.
right. They want to be at the same place, not because they want to like them, because they kind of want to challenge this notion of online strategy games to be like a far right environment, and I think that's one part of it, and I think the other part of it is just like they're on the internet. I think femboys don't touch grass. If they would have touched some grass and gone to church on Sunday, they wouldn't have been the way they are. Okay.
Should we phone a femboy just to
Phone a femboy. That can be a new section on the
Who's
podcast.
femboy?
For sure. But
okay, look. What? Okay.
Should we mute?
No, I'm just gonna say none of you know this person. One of my childhood friends, I learned relatively recently turned into a femboy. I gotta.
Oh no!
And also,
I've seen some stuff also on some of my friends, not friends, but some people I knew who became like.
Were they friends, and did they lose their
weren't
friendship?
Really friends, but there was people I knew. But
As soon as they were honest with
honestly,
me,
I think it's
friend of
just
them.
sad. Like people who delude themselves into this vision. Like, yeah, I could achieve something. I could be wanted. I could get attention.
Mental decadency. You put the fictional reality above objective reality.
Just as you said. But when they're 30, do you actually think they're going to go around in stockings and be femboys? No, they aren't.
That's the difference.
At some point, they're going to grow up.
That's the difference between like when you're 18, you can do a lot of dumb shit.
Yeah.
You can, and also because you're 18, you're a child.
Yeah.
You're basically a child still.
But the problem is that if this was just a teenage thing, there's lots of teenage things which are stupid. The problem is when authority figures in society, like endorses these kind of
this is good.
That is the problem. Look at it's like I recently saw this Norwegian girl who said, I'm a wolf. It's like seriously,
can we shoot the wolf? Can we vote on shooting the wolf?
Wolves are endangered in Norway, so
but that's the same thing. Like before they were like okay, this is what liberal society should be. It's like
a bunch of femboys.
What liberal society should be is that this sort of behavior is allowed. Of course, you live your life the way you want to, but it is not encouraged. That's the difference. In a good liberal society, the bad behavior is allowed but not encouraged. The way it is now, there is no truth anymore. There is no, because they don't want to say something is bad because they risk offending someone. So if I say something like I did for the last moments with the whole femboy thing, I think it's not good, but no one dares to really, or no authority figure dares to say that stop doing this. It's not good for you. And I wish there were more authority figures who would actually do that.
Do you want to become one?
What?
Are you intending to become that authority figure?
No.
Why not?
Yeah.
I just think it's like whatever, because it's not like they go prowse around in the streets in their fucking. Okay, some of them maybe, but like a lot of them, I think
isn't that they're on the streets.
Why is this not working? Okay, there we go. What I'm saying is that if they do it in their own private time, in their own private home, why give a fuck? Why?
Yeah, that's not my problem. They can do it. I would like it. I don't think it's right of them to do it.
Yeah, no, because there's something about not liking it, but there's something about when it's not affecting you, actively trying to discourage it.
Just as I said, it's fine. They can do it. It's okay to
I just don't want to see it.
But that's a different thing. Exactly.
The problem is that they aren't just doing it in their home or in the personal. They're trying actively to encourage and go to other people and say, yeah, this is a good thing to do. Do this.
Especially, I would say it's more okay if those people are adults.
Yeah, if an adult in his or hers own home decides to do something, that's completely fine. I don't have anything against that. That's your choice, ultimately. The problem is when you are, I don't really like this, but I'm actually going to use this sentence, trans the kids, essentially. When they we do often view like the opposite with like Jehovah's Witnesses.
Oh, I was going to bring up that.
We look at these people who are actually actively going around to try to convince people
Christianize
about
the kids.
A certain message. We hate that. We despise them. We joke about, they're so terrible. They knock at your door and annoy you. Yet when the opposite, I'm not opposite maybe, but the other side do something like actively, in a form, missionary behavior, trying to spread a certain ideology and view, we think it's super great. Go on, have a drag queen story hour.
Is woke a religion?
Yeah, woke religion.
Yeah, because I've heard that from James Lindsay. He has defined wokeism as a religion, not an ideology. He defined it as a religion.
I would disagree with it as a religion, because that's more of the secular view of religion, secular centrist.
But he did define the spiritual, that the man at the end of history, there would be the correct side.
The Francis Fukuyama, you think?
No. This is James Lindsay. He has talked about how he would define wokeism as a religion, and that their chief deity is the man at the end of history.
But the problem with that view on religion is that it's secular. That is closely related to the Harari definition that religion is collective imagined reality, right? But I really disagree with that. It's too like focused on one thing. Religion can be much more like Rudolf Otto, I think his name is, a definition of religion with religion is the meeting with holiness or sacredness.
That's the priest from those 3 examples in the book, right?
Yeah. But religion isn't just a belief in something other than the material world around you. It is something holy. To hold something holy, to have something sacred. Yeah.
But if you hold something sacred, that doesn't necessitate it being a religious thing. Can you have something sacred without religion?
Then it isn't sacred.
How would you define sacred then?
This is going to be a very circular definition, I feel.
Oh no. Then you got to define the circle too.
Sacredness is when you believe that something is connected, at least, or has some sort of spiritual or supernatural power, I would say, maybe, something. I'm not sure about the definition, but it's something.
Okay, then I agree with the statement by that definition.
Good. Fun.
That's what I said. We agree on a lot of things. But,
we just have to work around the definitions.
I'm completely zoned out because you guys have been talking.
Welcome to our reality.
What was I going to say? I was just going to say something about, I'm really against people. Like, with the internet now, it's what you said with, like, all the, missionaries and all of that. People just go to other people's, like, homes on the internet, basically, like, to their places and try to convince them of, like, do this, do that, this is bad, this is good.
Yeah, but I don't really have anything much against missionaries. Like, going on a mission and saying, like, I'm spreading something I believe.
Yeah, but like as you said, when that goes like with children, like older people on the internet, like you remember that documentary I sent you that actually made me sick to the core and like actually
we shouldn't talk about that on.
I'm not gonna
don't talk about.
I'm not gonna. Oh, you shut him. I'm not gonna talk about it, but I'm just saying stuff like that. When adults try to indoctrinate children into having their beliefs,
but you're
okay,
always going to indoctrinate your kids. No matter what you do, you're going to indoctrinate
no, but what I'm saying is like
without
bringing up what it is about. That kind of indoctrination, like actually like trying to make them act a certain way, not like giving them ideals and morals. It's like you should. It's hard to like make a good point without actually bringing it up because it's actually sickening.
Yeah, that's. But
you gotta send me that.
I think a lot of people are going to disagree with
you. You need to send me that.
Ask him after the stream.
But what?
No, he wanted to send the video. And I just said he can do it after stream.
The thing, a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but I think the problem isn't with indoctrinating kids. The problem is with other people indoctrinating our kids.
You know,
parents almost, I would say, have a right to.
You know, but that's what I'm saying though. Is like through the internet coming to like your little cozy cove, like fucking I don't know, adults going to Roblox or something, and then trying to teach their kids how to be bronies.
It's really bad, but that's why, honestly, internet is not healthy for children.
No, it
Let's
isn't.
Be honest.
It isn't. There needs to be more supervision with it.
When I see like a 5-year-old with an iPad and can just browse whatever he wants,
I just think go outside, climb a tree.
That's not necessary. There's a lot of good things you could do on the internet, but please don't give them free reign.
Yeah,
honestly,
absolutely.
Give them games, give them stuff, but don't give them.
Give them Minecraft.
Yes, don't give them stuff like Reddit.
Children yearn for the mind.
That's what they're called, minds.
That's but that's why, like, as a parent, you should be involved. I think it's kind of sad because I'm not going to complain about my childhood. It was really great, but I got kind of.
Is it over?
3 months or something.
No, you're not 18.
No, I'm 17. So.
Wow.
But
youngling.
I would say that I got free reign on the internet because my parents are a bit old and they don't really know how to do that stuff and don't know the internet that well. Of course, they can use it. They're not like ancient, but not
not like ancient.
I would say that I can do it better, and having free reign, I think it was fine for me because I always moderated myself in a way. For example, I talked to some of my friends about watching gore on the internet, and a lot of people I've spoken to actually like did that as a child, searched up gore, but I never did that because one thing is curiosity, but I just knew from an early age that isn't right. That's not something good, and I think that actually instilling those kind of values that you shouldn't do this because it simply is not right.
On that topic of something just not being right, when did you become Christian? Like, even if you were Christian from you were raised, when did you consciously decide that, okay, this is who I'm going to be and think?
I'm a Christian. I would say that I'm a Christian. Of course, nowadays, if you're just a Christian, you were viewed as a fossil, kind of. And I think it really began for me in middle school because it's kind of cringe, but there were some kind of documentaries but I would say the main thing for me becoming, I'm not super, I don't go to church that often on Sunday. I watch it digitally sometimes, and sometimes I go to church, but not really often at all. But
you do vote in the church elections, though.
Yeah, I did that, but at the same time, what made me Christian is history. Like, not joking, history. Because this the first piece of the Historia, the first work in all of history, by Herodotus, I think his name is in English.
Herodotus
is all about how you could view history from a secular view. Yeah, humans do this and humans do that, and that's the beginning. When you start getting into history, at least from my personal experience, you see you are at first, this is humans making this choice, but after a time you begin to see like patterns, and after a while, at least me personally, you start to see the hand of God. Like, honestly, you start.
I would just call that human nature. The a repetition of human nature.
The problem isn't that it isn't repetition. It's you can see
Is
that
there an end goal then to history?
end goal.
Is there a final stage of history? A final
It
solution?
depends what kind of Christian
Probably
he is.
Cringe about this, but he is coming back though.
So he do be coming. Okay. Thanks. When? Do you have a date?
We aren't supposed to try to figure that out. It will happen at some
Well,
time.
like,
It
what-
isn't our business.
what if we
trying to
just-
figure it out?
Have a new prophet and we just kill him.
In Christianity, they say that no, there won't be another prophet. They said quite clearly, and this is often used as an example for that Islam is wrong. That there will come false prophets.
You know how many people have like claimed to be prophets? What if one of them was actually a prophet, but we just like ignore them and kill them?
In Christianity, it literally says in the scriptures, this is the last.
Isn't in the Troy, the saga of Troy? Yeah, there is this.
Iliad? Or-
Iliad. There is this sister from Troy who predicts the fall of Troy, but
Yeah,
nobody
yeah.
believes her. Like this sense that prophets appear often, but it's very rare that people actually believe them.
Yeah, there's some truth to that. Look at Jesus himself. Some people believed him, but the majority did not. This is also something people react on maybe, but the Jews kind of killed Jesus, you know?
Are you still blaming them for that?
No.
Okay.
Of course not.
You still
Would you have
salty.
killed Jesus
Huh?
if you were in the same position? Do you think you would have acted the same way as the Jews did?
That's a difficult question. I think I don't remember his name, but that Roman guy who ended up started as fighting for the Romans and being a participant in the oppressing Christians and stuff.
Oh, I know.
He
P, something P, isn't it?
yeah, I know
Pilatus.
his
Pyrrhus.
Pontus Pilatus. I think
Jesus.
that's no. I'm sorry, I don't remember this.
Let's just skip over it. Some Roman
I
guy.
think I'd be at first. Of course, I don't think I'd be convinced at first, but the thing that would probably have convinced me is he has risen. He has literally stood up from the dead. How can you not be convinced?
No, because I asked that question because a lot of people seem to think that throughout history that, oh no, I could never have done that in history. And I've seen that mostly in relation to the Nazis during the Second World War.
I could never have done that.
Yeah, but do you think that you could, let's take the
Be a
stereotypical...
Nazi?
No, be the one that opened the doors to the gas chamber.
For sure. I wouldn't have absolutely. I don't want to, but be honest with yourself. If you had grown up and been indoctrinated into that, yeah, you could be as intelligent as you want. But if intelligence and how we function is based on our experiences, if you have never experienced something else, you would have the opportunity or be able to think that was wrong. If you have all your experience says this is the right thing to do. Because propaganda, we often underestimate. We look back, as you said, with this wisdom afterwards. We know that, oh, this was wrong. But if you had been there, would you have truly been able to know that it was wrong?
I could make communism successful.
This is a dilemma I've often thought about with myself, because you know about the Spanish Civil War, right?
The right before Second World War? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Because that's a more interesting situation than World War II, because in World War II, they were indoctrinated for years and years. But they did not. They weren't in Spain nearly at all. There was no systematic government propaganda. And I've thought to myself often, if I was Spanish, what side would I have chosen? And I think talked to this Philip about that I always think about these things and a lot when I walk, and this is one of the I just went 1 hour, 1 or 2 hours. I think it was 2 hours, about 2 hours, and just thought about this, like, what side? There's so many factors, like, and you can say, yeah, Franco was of course a fascist, but I ended up on I think I would be a nationalist in that war. I would at least. I don't know if I'd volunteered for the war. I probably not. But if I had to choose a side, I would probably choose the nationalists. To be honest, because many center-right figures chose the Republicans in that war. But this is often something I dislike also with how people view history, is that, Franco was really bad. He killed people. He oppressed the Basques. He killed a lot of people after the war. But what was the alternative? If the Republicans had won, would it have been any better? Because when we view history today, we look back, Franco is bad because he did this. But we haven't gotten the opportunity to view what would have happened if the Republicans won. I personally think that
it would have been worse.
It would have been way worse.
Just look at what happened in all. If we take all the other countries we can use as examples, like look at China, for example.
China's a good example, but it would have been actually Stalinist, probably.
Even worse.
Yeah, probably, because they got support.
Not just support. Stalin ordered them around. Like when Stalin said we need a purge in the Spain Communist Party. Yeah, they just did it.
And we saw what happened in the Soviet Union.
Yeah, it would have been really bad. And this is the problem I have with also Norwegian society. We are aware of the bias in our own society. I spoke about this early on in the podcast, but we are so manipulated by the medias and around us that they sneak in about foreign matters. Norwegians are so concerned and so aware of their own society, but they often don't look very far. So, for example, I watched this movie where they say like, I fought for the Republicans and is hailed as a hero of fighting for democracy, right? But at the same time, we don't actually acknowledge. We are in Norwegian, I would say, in Norway, we are easily we are susceptible to propaganda. Many of us, especially, we can see this especially with the Trump campaign and how Norwegian media did that. I'm not a Trump fan. I'm not a Trumpist, but the vilification.
I'm not a Trumpist.
I know that you mean trumpeter. I do not say.
I'm not a trumpet.
Trumpeter. But I hate that, and I think I would attribute that. VG, Aftenposten, the Even Post, maybe I should say, they are okay. I don't hate them, but the NRK, I would say, is the largest factor in this.
And NRK is the state-owned,
the public broadcasting service.
But they honestly, from what I've seen, they look the most centrist. But when you actually see what they say, the way they phrase everything seems the most neutral, but their opinions are not.
There are some really, really good programs, though. For example, the debate. The debates they have.
Solvang.
He's fantastic.
Fantastic.
That's.
I got my hair in my. Oh no!
And that's basically one of the only good things. You have to go pretty far back to get as unbiased or less biased view.
Yeah, I think that's really sad. With the NRK has experienced a great decline. And this is, I'm going to say a conspiracy theory. I don't believe in this, but it's a common, or at least it's a conspiracy theory. With the Marxist-Leninist party in the 70s, they intentionally said, we are going to infiltrate 3 areas in society. We're going to infiltrate the schools. We're going to infiltrate the unions and the workers, like the working class.
And the media.
And the media. The working class did not work out at all because they were virtually all of them university students. And it's called the Marxist-Leninistic Labor Party, the Workers' Party. But they were not workers at all. They were university students. But university students and these APLM, it's a Norwegian acronym for them, they were at least a bit...
APML? APKML?
AKPML, yeah.
AKPML.
Yeah. AKPML. I would say they were at least slightly successful in infiltrating both the media and the schools.
By the way, you said something interesting, that the members of that party or group were all university students. You brought up before holiday started that there was a pretty good correlation between how educated you were or what line of work you were in if you were left or right leaning. right? If you did academic work or if you did hands-on work, like
The
physical
great
work.
irony, I've heard it been called, that the socialists aren't the workers.
Champagne socialists.
but yeah.
Prost.
The thing is that, before, Champagne socialist was like this, and so for a very small group of the socialists, the labor movement was made and was workers. And many socialists view themselves as the continuation of the labor movement, but they aren't.
Feminists consider themselves the continuation of the first and second wave, which
Are they?
No.
the third wave is not the two
No,
first.
they
The two
aren't.
first are, I would say, noble and righteous. The third wave, that's just communism. Communism light.
I would say all of the waves that you've seen, if you go into the main drivers behind the waves and don't look at the results, you would find most of them appalling.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the drivers, I'm not sure if it was the first or second wave, were literally pressuring other women into leaving their partners, and you were under influence of the patriarchy if you weren't lesbian. no, literally, that was part of the most extreme groups, and those were the groups that pushed the most forward, and those were the groups that were mostly in the media.
It's the extremes that drag the center.
Yeah.
It's the center that stays.
There's an example for this with Olympe de Gouges. I think it's Olympe. No, it's not. I forgot. It's Simone de Beauvoir. I think.
Simone Beauvoir.
De Beauvoir. I don't remember how to pronounce it.
Beauvoir. Beauvoir. No, I'm not.
Yeah,
We understand.
Simone de Beauvoir.
I was gonna
or
freak
something.
out
She's a
about this.
feminist like writer that all the girls love these days. I've seen it so much, and she has some good points. I'll give her that. But this view of equality, I think it's in many ways she who reduces this equality. Everything has got to be into the feminist movement. Everything has got to be equal. Relationship is not healthy if it is not equal.
What does equal mean?
Yeah, that's the exact.
The
mean
problem
equity.
is not with what does equal mean. The problem lies with men and women are different.
Yeah, we are different.
We are different.
Obviously.
That's the problem. One thing is that equal level in rights to control themselves and to steer their own lives, of course. But equality in a relationship means much more than 50-50.
Mm-hmm. And also I don't understand people that say I will reference a debate that I had in a Discord server where I brought up the fact that relationships aren't a zero-sum game.
Yeah.
No, but that's the point. Like 50-50, I give you some and you give me some back. That's not how that works. That's not how they work. You all gain something. It's okay. I pour all of my soul into yours and you pour all of your soul into mine, and we both gain from it. We both.
The cake grows.
The sum of the parts.
Dislike that view a bit, to be honest.
Why?
Because I've seen multiple people talk about this. For example, the former porn star Mia Khalifa. she had a statement that I saw a political commentator speak about this. She said, if you don't like your marriage, if you currently don't like the situation, if you don't feel like he's giving you enough, just leave.
That's such a bad.
Yeah, but I think you are actually a bit related to that view. You view marriage and relationships as something transactional.
No, I'm saying it's not transactional. It shouldn't be transactional. It's that I give you something and I give it to you because, and I don't want this to sound transactional. I give you something because I love you and you give me something back because I love you. I don't expect you to give it back, but it should just be given back. And that's not to say that, you should stay through abuse or any of that, but it shouldn't be transactional. Like I give you something and I get something in return. That's not how that works. It's I give you everything and you give me everything, but we both gain from that. Let's call it transaction.
I disagree yet again, because you're viewing a relationship and two people who are in a relationship. That's probably correct. In a girlfriend and boyfriend situation, that's correct. But in a marriage, it's not like that. The thing about marriage is not two people giving themselves to each other. It's two people becoming one. Those are two different things.
Okay, I can agree. I'm not married yet.
No.
And also, I really like that because that's the purpose of marriage. That's why you say your vows. It's okay. We are now one unit, and we are now one. We will stay together. And the vows are whatever happens.
Yeah, until death does you apart, or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's what it's supposed to be. Okay, we stick through everything, but not because we aren't two people anymore. We are one.
Yeah, so that's the problem with what you said earlier. Is that you're not giving each selves to one another. Yeah, I own you completely. You own me. You are one. You are one being now.
I wanted to expand even more because I wasn't totally done. I was trying to make the argument that the whole is more than the sum of the two parts.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point. That's why you're together with someone. And I would say that's even true in marriage.
It becomes something greater. Yeah.
And you create something greater.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I would say that's probably the reason people get married, or the actual reason, or the traditional reason that people get married. It's not because I want to spend my life with you. And I know that the modern view of this is...
It's just,
but the real reason that marriage exists, in my opinion, is because you need to have a stable environment for kids.
Yeah. Children are why marriage exists.
Yeah.
Or is it?
It is.
It is.
Because if we didn't have children in the way we have, I don't know what that would look like. But if we did not, marriage as a concept would never exist. Marriage is a way to protect. So I would say that marriage, the institution of marriage, began as a way to protect women and nurturing children.
Mm-hmm. Marriage is a monogamous protection vest for the woman.
And it's kind of sad that so many women nowadays look at marriage in this like,
no,
marriage is a prison. I'm trapped, but like it's a shield. It's not a prison, it's a shield.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a shield or is it a leash? Because what a marriage does is that the man can't run away. But biologically, it would be beneficial for the man to just go around and get as many kids as possible.
Feminists have a point in saying that men also undermined marriage in earlier times because they forced women to marry people they didn't want to marry at all.
And that's not good.
That's not good. That's fundamentally wrong. That's undermining what marriage is supposed to be.
Love is the happy leash. It's the leash that gives you dopamine.
I'm going to say this again. Christianity says that the woman must agree to a marriage. But of course, when people go away from that teaching, things can get quite bad.
Yeah. So it's the correct teaching?
I would say that, a woman must, of course, consent to being married. I think
that has to be a discussion, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but when you have a situation where women can marry whoever they want, I think that, marriage is a shield. Marriage is good for the woman, really, no matter what. As long as she is able to choose a partner herself.
Why should a man engage in a marriage? Because now we've mostly talked about the female benefit.
Because women demand it. That's why.
Okay, well,
in a society, women demand
that marriage. Is a fair justification. Because if one whole gender demands something, then the other can't do anything but comply. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's this story of in ancient Greece have you heard about it? The sex strike? It's about this tale of women just being tired. I think it was a war or something, and just no sex. And
come back,
and it worked. It's probably just a myth, but it tells something about us. That for men, it's maybe a bit of a sort of wrong view, but still, women provide the incentives. They lay the rules for the competition. So
so men go to war for women,
but you forget glory, honor.
I know, but a lot of wars were started purely because of men's competition. Yeah, Troy, for example, is really good example.
You know, chimps.
Yeah.
No. I'm not talking about the war chimps. I'm talking about the fact that female chimps do not have a selection pressure. Mm-hmm. And they will mate with whatever. But there's something that evolved in humans where the females select. So it seems that the mammalian...
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, mammalian base is that the females won't really be selective in who they mate with. It's just the strength of the man that determines what genes go on, basically. But in humans, something specific developed and happened, that it's not just the competitiveness of the man, but as you said, it's the women that set the boundaries of the competition. Whilst in most mammalian species...
How ridiculous is it biologically to be attracted to looks and not like your actual ability?
Okay,
looks are
a pretty good marker.
Yeah,
for health.
Yeah.
For health. And that's you're pointing out the difference between natural selection and sexual selection. And that's probably why humans evolved so incredibly rapidly. And a lot of other species, for example, squid, they're sexually... but squid are sexually selected.
Yeah, birds as well.
But for example, in some species of squid, they can change colors, and the female looks at the male and he changes colors. And if he can change colors in a pleasing manner, and that would be complex patterns or whatever.
Basically a test of camouflage.
And not only camouflage, but that's a test of how big is your brain. Because if you can do more complex patterns, that means you have a bigger brain. And because you have a bigger brain, that's a marker of you were a good hunter to develop a bigger brain.
Could speech be the human equivalent of that?
No, not speech. Speech is not...
Humans are more complex because we usually... the hierarchy is usually competence, right?
But that has boundaries that aren't...
But it
set.
also... This whole debate points to something that I've also found quite interesting, which is the problem with someone... I don't like this word as well, but I'm going to use it. Incels. The problem with incels is that they... And other people also... It's not just incels. They think they have a right to women. They think like from a basic level that, yeah, I'm a guy, therefore I should have a woman.
Wow.
Women should like me.
It's probably opposite because historically most men don't have women.
Yeah, but they think they have an automatic natural right to it. But it's so deeply wrong. Also, it's not the best for them either. It's not to think that they have a right to a woman.
It's just
to
envy.
prove.
What did you say?
What did you say?
No, I just said your comment was smarter. Let's continue from that.
It's envy. And also, if all the women are rejecting you, it's your fault.
You could say that, but it's more complex than that.
I would probably disagree because what's the possibility that every woman rejects you because they're in the wrong is very much lower than the possibility that you're just not
what guy goes around
enough.
to every woman? Oh.
I know, but if you don't, I mean, the market would probably
themselves.
be female attention.
That we, of course, guys are to blame for many, like incels are to blame for their own suffering, but at the same time, one can also at least partially place the blame not on women, but on like societal views. I would say that
shaped by women.
Not necessarily shaped by women, shaped by society. This is the ideal man. That society says, or society is not one voice. It's parts of society says that this is the ideal man. They control what women think is the ideal man, and therefore they also get to say that certain qualities are not desirable.
What qualities would that be? Because if you're competent and you are able to climb a hierarchy of competence and do well, what's stopping you?
Because it's not necessarily a hierarchy of competence. It's a hierarchy of the competence to acquire those abilities they're sought after.
Yeah.
If the ability sought after is fitness and height, you can be born with the sad genetics that put you at the opposite end of that. Like super slow metabolism, very short, weak muscle gain.
And this wouldn't be a problem if women themselves always had the ability to choose what they found desirable, if they controlled themselves what is desirable. The problem is when other factions, including men, decide what women should find desirable. and therefore, like, they can push. For example, there are examples of this in Nazi Germany yet again, of trying to push that the ideal man is this Aryan perfect, but don't point to yourself. Aryan is more than just blonde. I think I'm the only one here with 100% Scandinavian. So calm down, Philip. Calm down.
I'm half Swedish. That's still Scandinavian, man.
Yeah,
what are you talking
dumbass.
about?
I'm like almost.
You're trying to brag.
No, I'm not.
You're trying to brag without
It was a
statistics here,
joke.
bro.
You're trying to prove your own Aryanism.
It was a joke. It was a joke.
Did you know Hitler considered Norway to have to be higher on the scale of ethnic power? You could say Norway was better than Germany.
But
Germans.
German,
Wow.
German sort of romanticism of the Nordics is not just something Nazis did.
No, that's
it's
quite
way
old.
older, because Germans, that old German society with pagan gods, who were living in Germanic culture, they lost it. Look at the Irminsul, for example. The great holy tree was cut down. Many of their old Germanic relics and traditions were completely destroyed. So to find what is truly Germanic, they could no longer look to themselves. They had to look northern.
Like you can
Nordics.
You can see that we don't use the Nordic name. We use Odin. We don't use Wotan because the Germanic side is forgotten.
At least partially.
Well, it was remembered, you could
I
say,
would
by a
say
lot of
that-
Nazis.
I would say that it was pushed out, but still existed. It was pushed out of the consciousness. The people were no longer allowed to view themselves as Germanic, no longer, but it was still there. They were still
In the
Germanic.
collective unconscious, the Jungian
One could talk about that.
subconscious.
It always remained there as a hint that, we are Germanic. You can conquer, you can settle us, you can spread some language, but at the deep foundational level, they were still Germanic, and they knew it. Like, not in the top of their head, but it was always there.
Could we consider ethnicity an anchor for culture? Not that
An anchor? Yeah.
in that if you have a culture, cultures can change, but if it's
Culture
connected to a
and
specific ethnicity,
no.
can it work as an anchor?
I would say it would probably be natural that throughout history it has been an anchor, not because
But we remove it. as we
yeah,
develop.
and it's not because of that was a conscious choice, but because the culture developed around an ethnicity.
Yeah, the culture. Look at cultures all around us. Roman culture is a good example of this. At the beginning, to be Roman, you must be of Roman ethnicity. You are Roman if you are from Rome or its territories. But as the Roman Empire develops and becomes more culturally developed, they don't view Roman ethnicity as being Roman no longer. They think, do you follow our civilization? Do you have our codes? Do you have the culture? So, for example, there's these tribes in Anatolia. Some of them have adopted Roman customs, some have not. They are almost identical ethnicity, but some are viewed as Romans, some are not. That says something, and that as cultures develop, we remove that anchor, as Philip says. We no longer say that culture is the same as ethnicity. You can become Roman by adopting Roman customs, not necessarily on a personal level. You have now become more Roman as you speak Latin, for example. That doesn't necessarily make you Roman, but as a tribe, as a people, become Romanized. They become Roman. That's Roman. Romanized means that they become Roman.
I would consider language to be the most important thing, you could say, for being Romanized or Anglicized or Norwegicized,
This is... I'm going to sound a bit hateful, but I personally dislike a lot of these Celtic nationalists you'll see sometimes. With the Irish nationalists and the Scottish. Oh, Scotland is so great. It's our own culture. Scotland forever. Scottish, not British. All this. But tell me, what language do you speak? Who has built your civilization? Who has built your rules?
America.
No, not America, but
It's kind of the same though.
England, I would say.
But it's kind of the same. You don't speak American, you speak English.
Yeah, it's the same of being not paying respect to they who have developed and built your culture is sort of disgusting to me. And this is also we are not getting too into this, but why I dislike France a bit.
It all comes back in the end. All comes back.
Seeing someone Scottish say, "Ooh, I'm Scottish, not British. Scotland, Celtic, yeah," and they say it all in English.
I'm from Bergen, not Norway.
They say it all in English. And
I wouldn't mind if the people from Bergen wasn't a part of Norway.
I would mind.
Why?
It is
Treason against the crown.
not necessarily the crown, but the fatherland.
Yeah.
But isn't the fatherland, who is the father, if not the king?
It's the land.
One could talk, the fathers.
And
Bergen has
symbolic?
been a sort of free Hanseatic city in history, where they were no longer really that connected to Norway. They were I would say on the verge of becoming actually an independent country, but
It's not that strange.
They
Because
are Norwegian.
Yeah.
You could say, we have a distinct culture, but what is the origin of that culture? Who has built your culture?
How far away do you have to be from the origin culture to be able to call yourself a new culture? Because by far, I mean in difference, either temporal or geographically.
That's a
Because
difficult question.
We do consider Norwegian and Swedish different, even though their separation is probably like 500, 600 years. At that point, you couldn't really tell much difference.
do you consider Swedish and Norwegian culture to be different?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's so different about them?
What's so different about them?
Sweden is more, shall we see, capitalistic, honestly.
Not really. Not at all. I would not say at all. Have you ever heard about, do you know what Sweden is? Have you heard about Palme, Olof Palme? He literally sent aid to the Viet Cong.
I know, but I'm talking more about on the individual level.
More socially democratic in many ways.
On the state level, yes, but on the individual level, they are more, shall we say, maybe I shall put in Nietzsche. They are the master morality. Norway is kind of still has that slave morality.
Yeah, I can see that. A good example of that probably is nobility. In Sweden, they have more nobility. People are nobles. Some people aren't. They speak mansions. In Norway, not really a lot of that. There are a few examples, but not many at all. We have never gotten this aristocratic culture like they have in England, in Sweden.
That died out. They kind of said bye-bye during the Black Death, and we never got them back.
It's not that. We got Danish nobles.
Yeah,
afterwards.
but they never became...
The problem is that in Norwegian culture, our understanding, at least how I view it, is that in Sweden, or England or Germany, it's the king at the top, or ruler, or whatever you want to call it, and then there's lots of nobles, and then there's maybe some low nobles more, and then there's the people, right? But in Norway, we don't have enough food to have that sort of system, that sort of complex system. So since I would say the founding of Norway's structure has been more, not always, but more like a king people. We have never really had that same upper class.
And also the land isn't really centralized enough to rule. Like, do you want to rule one small plot of land next to a mountain? No, because that's mostly most land in Norway isn't. You can't grow food on it.
To win Norway, you don't have to win the nobles. You have to win the farmers. A good example of this is Eric Bloodaxe. He was the king in Norway after the death of Harald Fairhair, and he was recognized by king by the nobles and most of the other sons of Harald. But when Hakon came and just promised the farmers, I'm going to give those rights that Harald Fairhair took from you, I'm going to give them back again. Yeah. And then he just became king and Eric fled.
Because it's the farmers that rule.
In Norway, there is so little resources, so little food, that it's so crucial that the farmers, because they are more, they are more necessary to basic survival, they get more power.
It's a kind of true underdog story.
Yeah, it's an underdog
Although
story.
to be fair, when you have 1,000 underdogs against one upper dog, a top dog, I wouldn't really call that an underdog story.
Top G.
Top G.
Are you the top G?
There's many examples of this. We have a state. We have something over us. It's not that, but we don't have these layers. There's something over this. In Norway today, it's still kind of like this. It's the state. The state is there, but there isn't. We don't have, and we will never have, I think, this sort of federal mindset that first is we have communes, we have municipalities and regions and stuff, but they don't have that much power. And I think that shows pretty much about Norwegian culture. We don't have the capability to have all these sort of overall kind of governments in every little place. We are a centralized. You could say that we're not centralized because of the geography and stuff, but culturally we're quite centralized, I would say. Yeah, we have dialects, but unlike Spain, which also has a lot of dialects, and Germany has a lot of dialects, there is no real secession movement among the Norwegian people. All Norwegians, despite having different dialects, know that on a deep level they are Norwegian.
Even though we struggle to understand each other.
Yeah, we struggle, but
some people switch to English.
Yeah, but even if someone has a totally different dialect,
we're still Norwegian.
We're still Norwegian, yeah. While in Sweden, yeah, I think it's more important to be from Scania or Jämtland or something.
That
like
specifically though for Skåne, Scania and Gotland, those are the two with a big. Where probably being from those sub-regions is of similar importance to just being Swedish, whilst most others still keep as Swedish as a primary one and don't really care for the sub-region.
There is something un-Norwegian about secession. We don't do it. We fight for who is going to be king of Norway. We fight for who is going to control Norway. But there is never, should we split Norway? No.
Norway is, we never divorce Norway in a way. We can divorce Norway from other stuff. We can't divorce ourselves from the idea of Norway or the country of Norway.
Yeah, it's such a deep understanding. Like a German, we will sometimes say, I'm Bavarian.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Swabian or whatever. But and we will say I'm from Trondheim or something. And we'll laugh at our different dialects, but we will never actually seriously think about seceding.
Norway is indivisible. Thomas, it's you can't divide it. You can't divide
it's in the Constitution, isn't it?
Yeah,
the Kingdom of Norway is indivisible.
Yeah, and and also something
though.
Very important in the Norwegian Constitution is that the government is not allowed to secede, to lose any territory or accept any deal that they lose. So territory in any way. So this also says something about Norway. We have taken, all of the countries have taken stuff from us, of course, but Norwegian people have never tried to not become Norwegian. There are cases with the Sami, but they were never really Norwegian.
Isn't that why we couldn't give a gift
the
to Finland?
Yeah, the peak of the highest mountain.
Yeah. We tried to give them we have the peak of their mountain.
Their tallest mountain. Or highest mountain.
No, actually, well, you should stay because we're about to wrap things up.
Yeah, just stay, bro.
Just stay.
It's fine.
Oh, really? Okay.
10 minutes.
An unpolite guest.
Wow. Oh, unpolite? Wow. Okay.
You've done really good. You've done a lot.
Other
of talking.
podcasts have piss breaks.
I know, but
I want my piss break. I want
democracy.
I want piss break.
Is this really going to be the last topic we talk about?
But literally, you could do that in the convo as long as you make sure that the other people are talking. Like I did. I went to fill my glass. Right now. And I went to fill my glass because I made sure that you two were talking about something.
I didn't even notice you were gone, to be honest.
Yeah.
I literally looked at your glass like, I thought that was empty. I was like, how is that? Okay.
The only reason I noticed that you went is because I always look right at you.
It's that magnetic stare that you have towards them.
It's the Riz.
It's a bromance.
It's a bromance.
Napoleon and Alexander, they can dance at the top. You know, no need to debate. They're both number one.
It's the Hoi 4 bromance. Is that what you're on about?
Hoi 4? We've never played Hoi 4 together.
You haven't?
No.
We should maybe do that.
We should, but I haven't played Hoi 4 in like 2 months.
I always
fulfill the prophecy. Come on.
Another guy.
Okay, but with that, I think it's about time we end this. Before we start talking about something else.
Yeah. Okay, finally, I want to say 2 things. They should stop calling me the monarchist.
Look in that camera.
Call me something else. And also, Napoleon is way worse than Alexander the Great, and the Holy Roman Empire is the true successor to Roman Empire. Thank you very much. Philip is not allowed to say anything. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Almost.
I hope to come back again someday,
Of course,
to continue the conversation. But I look forward to seeing other guests as well.
Yeah. Next time I will not wear this because I am boiling.
Sorry, you haven't gotten to speak a lot.
No, I gave up eventually because you two, both of you, are really like pushy with conversations.
Yeah.
It was impossible. So
I had to just force myself, like, I need to shoot something towards that.
I was just asking questions most of the time.
Yeah, I was going to call you Tate at some point because you were asking these questions that were reminding me a lot about Tate. What do you mean? I don't pay a lot of attention to Tate, to be fair, but yeah. But
asking questions.
Okay,
I'm
you know,
Socrates, not Tate.
Okay, you know
wow,
what?
don't overhype
You know
yourself.
what, Dolbez? We're going to do the exercise we did last time. We are done now.
We're done now.
Stop punch.
Guys, we are done now. I had to do it. Okay.